what's up? This is GM Studios. So for today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different. I am doing a music theory lesson, and today I am going to be proving with music theory why Victorious by Panic! At the Disco is a very good song. So I'm probably going to do more videos in this series of just like proving whether songs are good or bad or just, I don't know, okay or weird or whatever with music theory. So yeah, leave a comment if you have an idea of a song that you want me to do in a future video. So first things first, I'm just gonna let you listen to the song and see what the lyrics are, just in case you've never heard it before. You can see what it's like, and if you have heard it before, you can have a little bit of a refresher on it. And yeah, I'm probably biased because Panic! At the Disco is my favorite artist, and Victorious is one of my favorite songs by them, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's very, very good in my opinion, and I was, just thinking about it, and I noticed that it has a very interesting setup from a theoretical standpoint. So now I think it's a good song, but I'm going to prove that it is a good song. So yeah, just, I don't know, listen to it, I guess.
Kiss, I know you need it. Do you feel it? Drink the water, drink the wine. Oh, we gotta turn up the crazy. Living like a washed up celebrity. Shooting fireworks like it's the 4th of July. Until we feel alright. Until we feel alright. I'm like a scarf, trinkets all of swallow quick and deep. Throw the bait, catch the shark, bleed the water red. 50 words for murder, and I'm every one of them. My touch is black and poisonous, and nothing like my punch. Drunk kiss, I know you need it. Do you feel it? Drink the water, drink the wine. Oh, we gotta turn up the crazy. Living like a washed up celebrity. Shooting fireworks like it's the 4th of July.
Sorry, I had to speed that video up into 1.1 times speed because they're gonna copyright claim the heck out of me if I don't change it, because it's a copyrighted song and then I screen recorded someone else's video, so that's like a double copyright claim, and I feel like YouTube would not be very happy with me because I keep accidentally violating their copyright laws. So if it sounds a little bit different than you remember, that's why. And I decided to speed it up instead of slowing it down because the song definitely has a sort of like frenetic energy to it, and by speeding it up, it just, adds to that sort of energy and vibe where it's just going absolutely crazy with energy. I'm saying energy too much, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's sort of how it is. So one of the interesting things about Victorious that I noticed sort of right away is that it is written in B flat minor, which has 5 flats, or if you refer to it as A sharp minor, but I don't know who would, it would have 7 sharps. And what's kind of interesting about that is analyzing Panic at the Disco's other very popular music. High Hopes is written in D minor, which has 1 flat, and I Write Sins Not Tragedies is written in A minor, which has no sharps or flats. It's a completely natural key. So this is sort of like a strange deviation from taking like songs that are in minor keys that are, they still feature mostly natural notes, to switching to a key that has, like if you're playing it on piano, it has so many black keys, and I don't know, maybe my piano training is flawed or something, but like the more sharps or flats in a song, the harder it is to play because it's so hard to read, that it just becomes very difficult. So I think that, especially compared to like other fairly popular songs by Panic at the Disco, because Victorious is sort of up there, especially since it was introduced to TikTok. It's become more popular, and yeah, it's definitely an interesting change from the normally... Maisie, come here. Maisie, don't walk, come here. Maisie. You know what? I'm not going to edit this out of the video. I just don't care anymore. But basically, my point is that B flat minor is a weird key, and it's hard to read, and it's sort of interesting because, like, their other popular songs are honestly kind of easy to read. Victorious has a fairly typical song structure, although it does add like any optional parts like intros and pre-choruses and bridges and stuff. But it goes intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro, which isn't that unconventional of a way to structure a song. But what is sort of unconventional about it is that the lengths of them, of all the parts, they're not conventional. Usually the verse is the longest part of the song, but the verses in Victorious aren't actually that long. They're 8 bars, and the longest parts are the chorus the first time we hear it, the chorus the third time we hear it, and the intro. Those are all 12 bars long. And the chorus the second time we hear it, though, is 8 bars long because it doesn't feature the until we feel alright, that part. I think I sang that in the wrong key. But it doesn't feature that, which removes 4 bars from it. And yeah, the pre-choruses are short, as most pre-choruses are, but the verses aren't that long. They're 8 bars, which is right in the middle, because every part of this song is either 4 bars, 8 bars, or 12 bars. And, 8 bars is right in the middle, and that's where the verses are. And the chorus is the longest, which is a little bit, it's interesting. Usually it's the other way around. The verses are 12 bars, and the chorus is 8 bars. So, in my opinion, one of the best things about Victorious is that it doesn't use a standard chord progression, and in fact, the notes that it uses change depending on where you are in the song, because there's absolutely no progression in the intro, and then in the verses, it's a chromatic scale going down, just going, etc., etc., although it does skip a few notes in the chromatic scale. But then in the chorus, there aren't any chords either, but you can hear the guitar in the background just going like from an A flat to a B flat. And the bridge is the same as the intro and the outro, where there's not really any chords. So that's sort of what makes it interesting, because there's no sense of chord progression. And in some songs, a chord progression will extend throughout the entire song through like the verses and the chorus, and a very infamous example of this is Justin Bieber's Baby. And this song, he doesn't have a child. I don't think he does. I don't know. I don't care about Justin Bieber. Because it uses like the world's most basic chord progression where, you know, C, A minor, F, G. Woohoo! I mean, it's actually an E flat, but I can't play the chords very well for E flat, so I'm just gonna play it in C because I really don't care. But here, I'll play it and show you how the chords just never change. They always stay the same. You know you love me, I know you can. Just shout whenever, and I'll be there. You are my love, you are my heart, and we will never, ever, ever be apart. And then, you know, the verse continues. And then when it goes into the chorus, it continues with the same progression. And I was like, baby, 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 oh, like, baby, 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 no, like, baby, 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 oh, I thought you would always be mine, mine. So, as you can see, that song is just the same 4 chords over and over and over again throughout the entire song. I think even through, like, the rap sequence, it continues playing those same chords in the background. Whereas you have Victorious, which has absolutely no chord progression, and I honestly love it for that, because there's so many songs that have just such a clear progression of chords, and Victorious doesn't, so it's new and fresh, and it still manages to sound really good when, like, it doesn't really have any chords or anything in it, and yeah, I really appreciate it for that. Okay, so I was just watching that during editing, and I realized that I completely forgot about the pre-chorus of Victorious. I didn't mention it at all. But yeah, the pre-chorus doesn't have a chord progression. It's just going B flat minor. It's just going B flat minor pretty much the whole time. There's some note variation, I think, with the guitar or maybe the bass, but it doesn't follow a clear progression. I think it's just all playing notes within that chord realm. Okay, back to the rest of the video now. One of my favorite parts of Victorious, though, is the meaning behind the lyrics, because you have this really badass sounding song with, you know, badass sounding lyrics, and then Brendan Urie wrote it because he was bad at sports growing up, and any small thing he did right felt like a huge victory. So, in conclusion, I have proved that Victorious has, you know, an interesting song structure and an interesting non-chordal structure. And that is what makes it a good song, because it's fairly new and different while still being mainstream enough to not weird people out. And, I mean, the fact that it sounds good isn't really a fact, it's more of my opinion. But I have presented facts as to why it may sound good and why it is unique and not boring and basic. So I guess, you know, your personal musical taste is up to you, but I'm just, you know, trying to use some music theory to prove why I like it so much. Well, thank you for watching, thank you for enduring my singing, and thank you for enduring my fangirling about Panic at the Disco, which I tried to keep to a minimum, but it still definitely shows. But yeah, comment below if you think of another song that you want me to analyze from a music theory perspective, one that you think is, you know, like really good or really bad, and I will do that. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!